All right. My system says we're live. And yes, we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel, the podcast, whatever you want to call it. If you're new here, my name is Ronald, and this is Behind the Scenes in Health, where we talk about everything, all there is to healthcare, career transitions, fun stuff on this station. So if that's what you're looking for, you're in the right place. So click the subscribe button down there so that you don't miss any of the interesting episodes that we do. So, well, I think I'm quite early today, maybe 30 minutes earlier than usual because my videos usually go live by 7 p.m. And in fact, I was even supposed to do a stream today, but I just decided to do a stream today. So I'll probably just give it a few seconds to see if one or two persons can join before we, hit the ground running. So on today's episode, I'll be, talking about one of the questions I usually get. What's the process for applying for jobs? I mean, to put this disclaimer out there, I'm not a recruiter, I'm not hiring expert. It's just based on my own experience, looking for jobs and all of that. So I'm just going to be sharing strategies that worked for me during my own job application process, which I feel will also be handy because it's also worked for other persons, really. So, yep. For say I'm a hiring expert or something. So I just want to check my feed. All right. So I guess I'm actually live now. Yep. So working perfectly fine. So let me just share the link so that more persons can join and benefit from the lots of information I'm going to share on this live. Yep. Okay. I think that's it. So I guess we can get started. So I'll just pull up my screen in a bit. Yep, I know it's visible now. So if you're watching, you can ask your questions in the chat box. I'll pick it up from here and I'll answer those questions for you. So let's just see how it goes. So basically, on today's session, I'm just trying to focus on NHS jobs because most of the NHS jobs they go through the track jobs portal. Um, I think all of the NHS, or if not all jobs, they actually use track for their job application process. So first of all, you will need to create a track account, right? And it's not difficult to create a track account really because it's pretty straightforward because that's where you just put in your name, all your demographic details, then put up your CV, educational history, work history, and all of that. So it's pretty much straightforward. Getting the track part of your application done. So I think that's like getting started, the first place to start. Then the second thing is to search for the jobs itself. Now this is a very tedious and painstaking part because I think that's really the most difficult part, especially when you're looking for NHS jobs in reality. Uh, Case in point being that most of the jobs, the titles might be misleading, right? And you have to read through all of the job. If, for example, you see a heading that says senior project manager or something, you have to click on that heading to actually get into the details to see what they're talking about as a senior project manager. You want to see what is the job specification, who are they looking for, what are the qualifications. You have to click down because many a times a lot of people have missed roles that they're qualified for because the headings were actually sort of misleading or didn't really portray what was in the job description, person specification, and all of that. So that's why I said it's like the main part of the job application process, searching for these jobs. And there are a couple of sites I use for that. I think I've mentioned that in most of my videos. Let me see if I could just get some sites for you guys to see. Just a minute, just get this. So my favorite site is jobs.nhs.com. So I'll just put that up for you guys to see. Create. Let me see. Yep. Yes. Yep. All right. So this is my most favorite spot or platform for looking for jobs, especially if you're looking to work with the NHS, whatever part. So jobs.nhs.uk is my place to go. So you could also check it out. I've mentioned this website in a couple of other videos I've done on my channel. So I constantly talk about the NHS platform because that's where I probably spend most of my time really. Then after you search for the jobs, you keep them in draft really. So this means that you need to have a strategy for applying for these jobs, right? So I mean, what worked for me might not work for you, but basically you just need a strategy. So you might decide to say, from Monday to Friday, I'm going to search for jobs. Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to do the applications. Or you say you use the weekend to search for the jobs and you apply for them weekdays, or there has to be a strategy. But for me, what worked was I used the weekends to search for the jobs and I used the weekdays to do the job application because of the nature of my work. So that way I was able to get in more applications than I would have ordinarily done on a normal day. So after getting to jobs.nhs.com, I look through the jobs and I feel, okay, they are actually cool, or these are the kind of roles I want to look at. Then I click on apply. And since I've already created my track account, it automatically takes you to track and you now save those jobs. So I keep them in draft. So if you focus on searching for jobs, if you're consistent, maybe in a week you might find like 10 to 15 roles that you think you're eligible for. You put those ones in draft, right? Then after keeping them in draft, what's the next step? So I typically look at the deadlines for each of the jobs really. So today is 14th of July, and maybe the deadline of one of the jobs I'm looking out for could be end of the month. I'm not in a hurry to apply for that job. So you send an email to the recruiting manager. Now, this is the part most people miss it because it gives you an opportunity to understand the role better and understand the people you want to work with or work for, the organization, and all of that. And that sort of also helps you when you're writing your supporting statement. So it's really, really helpful to send the recruiting manager an email to say, hi, my name is Ronald. I saw your job on NHS Jobs, so the role of digital officer. I think with my skill set and experience, I'm a good fit for this. But however, I want to have an informal chat with you to understand the role better before I send in my application. So once you do that, most times they will usually reply. Excuse me. They'll usually reply, fix a 30 minutes or 1 hour chat with you to understand what you really want. And that way you can find extra things you probably need to put in your job application to make you a very strong candidate for that role. So after you're done sending an email to the recruiting manager for the chat, probably when you're waiting for the manager to come back to you, you read the job description. perfectly. You read it thoroughly. In fact, you see, I use capital letters thoroughly to read the job description, because if you don't understand the role you're applying for, chances are very high that you're going to miss what they are looking for, or they want to read in your supporting statement. So it's very important you read the JD, the person specification, thoroughly. Hi, if you're watching and you've got any questions, you can just pop them in the chat, and we'll take it from here. Right? Thank you for watching. So you read the job description. I attended one interview before where, well, to be honest, I didn't prepare for that interview. I really didn't read the JD thoroughly and all of that. And when I got there, it was very glaring that I wasn't ready. I didn't understand the role I was coming to play in the organization. Yeah, I felt hurt, but I mean, that was part of my lessons learned really in the job application process. So you need to understand what you're doing or what you're going to do by reading the job description in and out. Once you feel you're confident with the um, job description, person specification, then the next thing is to now sit down and write your supporting statement. Now, this is the other difficult part of the job application process, right? But by the time you get started with all of these processes, I mean, you get better at the job, at the process of applying for jobs, really. So your supporting statement is going to differ, and it's going to neatly tie into the job description, the person specification, and expectations, or whatever they are looking for from you, really. So your supporting statement, that's why I said you have to read the JD thoroughly to support whatever you're writing your supporting statement, right? And one key thing you should remember while writing your supporting statement, I probably need to have another session about this, is to always use a star approach, in writing your supporting statements. What was the situation, what was the task, action, and result. People are looking for folks who are able to deliver. It's not just about turning up for work every day, waiting at the end of the month to get a salary. But I mean, we're looking for people who have delivered on the job. What are the numbers looking like? What changes have you implemented? Have you led teams and all of that? So those are the type of things we should be seeing in your supporting statement. So by the time you're done writing your supporting statement, the next thing you do, you don't just jump into clicking the submit button or apply button, really. So the next thing you want to do is to read it side by side with the job description, right? Because you need to see if what you've written tallies with what they are looking for. Because if you go off, then chances are high that nobody's going to shortlist you for any interview, especially if it's the NHS, because I understand they're very strict in how they recruit and all of that. So you reread your supporting statement with your job description side by side. So if you've got two screens, amazing. If you've got one screen, you can minimize both of them and look at them side by side, line by line, and make sure you've cleared all the things they're looking for, especially the essential criteria for that job description. So once you've done that and you feel you're pretty much comfortable with what you've written, you probably also want to run it across somebody else, the second eye, to look at this, if it makes sense, do I need to tweak it and all of that. So by the time you're done with all of this, the next thing is to hit the apply button and or submit your application. Now, once you do this, well, fingers crossed, really, and you start waiting to be shortlisted for interview, or that's when they serve you breakfast to say we are sorry that we cannot continue with your application and all of that, but that's conversation for another day. Then once you click submit your application, you move on to the next application, really. So for those who are not looking for maybe NHS jobs or using the track portal for your applications, it's worthwhile to say what you call it now. It's worthwhile to use a form of tracking mechanism really to make sure that you're on top of your applications really. So you could use an Excel sheet, but the beauty of track is that it allows you to track your applications. You're able to see which ones are pending, which ones are done. Let me see if I can even um, open my track portal to show you guys what it looks like. So you're able to track, you have a dashboard really. I think track has been problematic for a couple of days now. I don't know if they've been able to fix that. Okay, yep. So let me just see if I can share this. Present your screen. Let me see. Which one do I share now? Yeah. Yeah, let me just share my screen really. Let me share the track. So if you guys can see my screen, you'll see that this is my track portal, one of them, and you can see total number of applications here. So you can see submitted, recruited, deadline passed, withdrawn, unsuccessful, so and well, this is what it looks like. So it's easy to keep a track of your jobs. And if you have jobs that are in draft, you also be able to see them here. So that way you're able to keep an eye on what's happening all the time, right? So that's for that portal. Then once you're done with that, then you repeat the process. So why I said this is the fast way is basically because by the time you do the first one, you do the second one, you do the third one, it becomes like sort of routine for you. And as you keep moving, you begin to realize that some jobs are similar or what they're looking for is similar. And so because you have your own records too, you just look at previous applications, tweak them a bit and, edit and put it there. So that was how I was able to, get by putting in so much applications in a short period of time. I remember when somebody told my class then that he had to put in 400 applications or about 400 applications before he got a role. And it was crazy, really. So, yeah, so that's it for me. Um, supposed to be a short live. So I'll see you guys next episode. Bye.